Hey guys, it's Chala from Crafting Through the Chaos of Life. Thanks for joining me for another Scrap and Step blog hop video. This is the one for May, and I have an idea that I wanted to share with you guys, and I wanted to step you through the process of how I plan out my cards. So let's get started. I have the Gina K Designs stamp set here called the Best Flowers stamp set. This is brand new and I am so excited to use this. I'm looking forward to it. I love the beautiful blooms. They look like peonies to me, and I love peonies. I think I have several stamp sets of peonies. There's just something about them that it really appeals to me that I keep buying them. I also have a sequin mix here from Picket Fence Studio, and this one is the Purple Rita, and I thought that would be fun to try and create a shaker card. I also have some cream tulle here, some light tulle, and this is just the Celebrate It brand that I got from Michaels, and I'm actually going to be doing a different type of shaker card. Instead of using acetate, I'm actually going to use some tulle over top, and that'll give it still the shaker ability but some really nice texture with it as well. And then I have here just my scratch paper that I use to design out my cards to get my idea, and let's step you through how I do that now. I'm just going to grab a pencil if I can find one. Those are like gold in my house. My kids keep stealing mine. So I have a pencil here, and my idea is I wanted kind of the circular shaker element. Maybe what I'll do is I'll use this to trace. Okay, so this is going to be our circle shaker portion, and then there'll be the tulle over top of here, and then a sequins inside. And then what I want is I want to use this large bloom and some of the leaves. So I'm going to pull that out, set that aside, and I kind of want one of the flowers here. I think I like this one. I want this one. Oh, those are stuck on there good. And I'm just going to stamp it down where I kind of want it on my piece of paper. I will be coloring these images with Copic markers, so when I do go to stamp it on my project to color it, I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Right now I'm just using my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink just so that I can get an idea of where I want these to go. So I want kind of my bloom hanging off here. Okay, again, this doesn't have to be perfect because this is just our idea, getting our ideas down on paper. And then let's do some leaves kind of on other side, kind of framing that circle a bit. So put this one back. Can get it on there properly. And let's see, gosh, that's gorgeous. I love that. And for the leaves, let's use this one here. This one's nice because it's got a bit of an arc to it. I like that, and that would frame that nicely. So let's go ahead and stamp that down. Okay, so these elements here I'm going to cut out. I'll actually probably cut them out with my brother's Scan and Cut, or you can fussy cut them out, or I believe these have dies to them. If they have dies with them that you can purchase separately, I'll link those as well down below. But I'm just going to use my brother's Scan and Cut because it's handy and I didn't get any dies. Okay, so I like that leaf, and then this one as well. It's kind of a toss-up between these two. So I could have this little leaf here, which is nice. That again frames it out. Or I could go with this one. Again, that kind of frames it as well nicely. Gosh, I don't know. Make it a bit smaller on that side. Or bigger. Well, for now, I'm just going to stamp out the big one, and then what I'll do is I'll stamp and cut and color each of those, and then I can decide when I'm putting the card together. But just to get our idea out onto paper, we'll stamp that one. And then I want my sentiment on there as well. And there's some really great sentiments in here. It has, let's see, what do we have for words? We have, you are the best, hello, and then we have friend, we have happy, so wishing you the best. We've got happy birthday, then for you, the best is yet to come. We could say happy friend, for you, friend, hello friend. So there's lots of different options that we can do here, but I kind of like the best is yet to come. It's kind of something that resonated with me. Now I may have to move this down a bit because I wanted my sentiment to be up there. So yeah, I think I'll have to kind of move everything down when it comes time. That's okay, that's why we're planning it out now. So that we can work out all these little kinks. So when we come time to actually doing the good version of the card, we've got everything worked out. Just gonna put this on an angle. So then it'll say the best. Quickly wipe that off. And of course this is actually going to be down just a little bit, so say is yet to come. Again, remember this is just our kind of prototype sheet. Doesn't have to be perfect. So here we go. We've got our general idea of how we're going to have our card stamped out. Now again, we're going to have to move this circle and everything down just a bit so that I can fit the best sentiment in there. All right, so I'm going to get my supplies together and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've got most of my supplies together here, I think, and I went ahead and I stamped and cut out with my brother, scan and cut out my images. Now I'll just let you know, this first one here, like look at this beautiful job that the scan and cut did. It did an amazing job. This first one, what I did is I stamped with Versamark ink, and then I used some gold heat embossing, and then I colored with my Zig Clear, Zig Clean Color water brush markers, or real brush markers, sorry, I'll get the name right here. And I did a little bit of watercoloring on these ones, and I really like how it turned out. I just used regular cardstock for this, that 120-pound cardstock that I like so much. If I would have used watercolor paper, I probably would have gotten some better blending with the colors, but still I don't think this is bad. I really like how that turned out. And for the second one, I just stamped with Memento Tuxedo Black ink and then Copic colored. So two kind of different looks, but similar all at the same time, and I think they look really well. My theory is if I'm going to do one card, I might as well do two. So we'll do two here as we go along. All right, so let's take a look at our little template. So we've got our little images out that we want. The next thing that I need to do is I was kind of thinking what I might like to do is use this circle scallop stitch. It's an inside scallop stitch. I have all my circle dies here. There's some lawn fawn stitched ones, some scallop ones. I just kind of have them thrown together, so if I'm looking for something round, I can look at everything that I have, and I kind of like the idea of this inside scallop. Now I'm going to bring in my sentiment here, and I want to be careful because I don't want to get black ink. I think I'm okay, but I want to have the circle lower down so that my sentiment fits. So it needs to be kind of down here, right? So we have the best. Is that one going to be too big though? Best is yet to come. And then we have our little die cuts here. Sorry, I'm kind of thinking and not really talking, but that's kind of how it will look. Now maybe what I could do is, because that's a little low for my liking, I want that higher up a bit. So maybe what I'll do is I will stamp this out on a separate piece of cardstock and cut it out. That way I can kind of layer it over top of that scallop circle. I think that's what I would like, because that's just down a little too low for me. And then I can put this kind of over top. I think that kind of pleases my eye a little bit better. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's kind of a better way to go. Okay, so what we're going to do is, now I'm thinking some more. Maybe what I want to do as well, what might be pretty, is to do like a light gray background, a stamping of, let's see, of some of these flowers and leaves in the background, so that it's just kind of a nice light gray. Let's try that. If we don't like it, then it's just a piece of paper. That's fine. I can use it for something else. So let me go ahead and get my stamp platform. It's my little Stamp Perfect here. Ooh, I don't want to lose any of my pieces. And I want it to be a nice light kind of gray. Let's see what I have here. Let me grab my gray. Okay, so I have this Morning Mist from Versafine, the Claire Morning Mist, and then I also have this Umbrella Crafts Designer Gray. So I'm not sure which one would look best, but let's take a scrap piece of paper and one of our stamps, and let's just check it out. So for this first one, let's try, oh, I lost my stamping block. Oh, no, I didn't, right there. Okay, so let's see. Let's try the Versafine Claire first. This is the Morning Mist, and we'll see how dark it is. I just want it to be really subtle in the background. Okay, so that's pretty dark. Let's try, ooh, if I can get it to open up. Let's try this Umbrella Ink one. Oh, see, I like that one a lot better. Let's see, do I have a distress one? I have this Weathered Wood Distress Ink as well. Let's check that one out and see. Sometimes you just need to switch up inks to get just the right tone and color. Oh, somebody must be at my door. My dog is going crazy. Let's turn it over here and see what we get. That's the Weathered Wood. Let's see, stamp it again next to this one. I should have done that. So there is the Versafine Claire Morning Mist. This is the Designer Gray, the Umbrella Ink. And then I have the Weathered Wood. And I think I really like the lightness of this Umbrella Crafts one. I think I got this one from scrapbook.com. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry about my dog. She's really not happy, and I don't know why the family isn't answering the door, but that's okay. We'll let them worry about that. We are crafting. Let's see. So now we just have to figure out, let's set these inks aside, we just have to figure out what we want on the background and how we want it to lay out. So we're going to take this is the one that we used. Let's use this other one. kind of put it maybe on this side. And got some leaves here. Let's those ones out. And maybe we'll use this big one kind of here. What else? Let's bring this all back in for a second. Because that part's going to be cut out. Maybe we'll do this leaf as well. Just kind of have part of it there. All right, let's give this a go. Again, it's just paper. Doesn't work out, it's fine. Got everything all over the place here. And we'll stamp it down. I'm going to push too hard because again I want it to be light. Just getting a good impression though. Alright, let's see how that looked. Yeah, I think that's alright. It's really kind of nice and subtle. So maybe I'll do another one while I'm at it. Again, if we don't end up liking it, we can just switch it out for a blank piece. We'll see how it looks right now. Tuck it, paper in the corner there. Bring back our ink. Alright, and because these are new stamps as well, I should have kind of primed them. Sometimes priming them, your new stamps with Versa ink or Versamark ink really helps to get the ink to stick to them so that you get a good impression of the image. New stamps are finicky that way. They like to be broken in, and the more you use them, the better they stamp. Alright, I think that's good. I like that. And then we're going to end up cutting the circle out, so that should be fine. Alright, just going to set that aside. I'll worry about cleaning them up later and putting them away. I say that now, but watch, hopefully I don't lose anything. Okay, so now we're going to bring back in our panel, and I want to I'm going to end up cutting most of that flower off, but I think that'll be okay. Still gives us kind of that light imagery in the background. So let's go ahead and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Okay, so I've gone ahead and die cut those out, and I think that looks really good. I love that little scallop, and then it's got kind of the pinpoint around it. I think that looks so beautiful. I'm really going to enjoy that. Okay, now what we need to do is work on making this into a shaker part. So I'm going to turn these over, and hopefully this is going to be wide enough. It'll fit over. I think it's just going to be wide enough. I should have measured this before, but I think I might have some larger stuff. This is just fitting, and I don't know, I don't want our sequins to come out. So let me see if I have some larger stuff in my Okay, so I did find some larger stuff in my stash. It's a gray instead of the white, but I think it'll still work fine because tooling is nice and light. I think it should be fine. So just make sure that when you are doing your die cutting that your tool is wide enough. If I would have used a smaller circle, this would have been perfect, but that's okay. We learned a lesson there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am just going to cut a piece of this tooling. And the first thing I actually want to do is, this really bugs me when my edges aren't straight. Sorry, it's kind of a quirky thing of mine. I'm just going to kind of try to cut this a little bit straighter so that I can work with a straighter edge. I think that's a little bit better. And then I'll measure it up to adhere to the back of our card. And I'm just using some, these are just dollar store scissors, nothing fancy here. And then we'll cut another one for the second card. And I'm cutting this a little bit bigger right now because I can always trim it off later. I want to make sure I have more than I need to work with because you can't add, you can always take away. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this is you can use a strong adhesive. I'm actually going to use Fabri-Tac. I really like using Fabri-Tac for anything that's got a bit of texture to it or anything that's fabric-like because I know this is going to adhere it really well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Fabri-Tac around the outside of that circle. Just kind of get rid of the little glue goober here. So I'm just adding a little bit, a little bead right around the edge. Oops, got a little too much there. That's okay. So a nice bead all the way around. And then I'm just going to lay the tooling on top. And then I have, this is just kind of a top from a gift card. And I can use this instead of my fingers so I don't get my fingers gluey. And just kind of press it down a bit. That way it gets glued down. And then I'm just going to set this aside to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second one and then I'll be right back. So the Fabri-Tac dried really quickly and I was able to just kind of trim out the tooling that I didn't need so that it wouldn't show in the front. And it's nice and dry, so we can go ahead and, like, if you can see that, it's nice and see-through and you don't have that shine of acetate paper, which is kind of nice. So it's a really delicate look. And that gray actually, you can't even tell that it's gray, but what little bit that you do see, it actually goes really nicely with this stamped background. So that is excellent. All right, so let's get started on making the shaker part of our card. So I have these card bases. Again, these bases are standard A2 size card bases, and they're made out of that 120-pound cardstock that I got off of Amazon that I just love. And let's go ahead and start building up. So what we need is, we need some double-sided adhesive. You can use the 3M type. This double-sided foam adhesive, I'm not sure where I got. I think, quite honestly, this may have been just a roll that I got off of, or got from the dollar store. Sometimes if I see it there cheap, I'll pick it up because foam adhesive can get quite expensive. So this foam tape. So let's go ahead and build up our little well. Now I don't like a saggy card panel, so I am actually going to make sure that I put this foam tape on the bottom of my card as well. And this one, I think I have to trim. It doesn't rip very nicely. Just use my scissors there. So I want to make sure that I put some at the bottom and some at the top, just so that the panel doesn't get all soggy and kind of warp on us. So you can trim this down more narrow as well if you need to, but I think, yeah, we're just perfect here that I don't need to do that. I might have to on the sides, but that's okay. And this will also help to keep that tooling down should the Fabri-Tac fail us, but again, I highly doubt that it will. It is a very, very strong adhesive, and I've never had any issues with it. It's one of my favorite adhesives for textures. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this. Ooh, it's good and sticky down the middle. Ugh. And I want to make sure, again, getting it nice and close to the edge. That'll stop any warping. And then I'll just put this little bit here, and that'll stop any of the sequins from coming out the side. And same on the other side. And let's see, might have to cut a little bit off there just to make it fit. There we go. And I do want to add another little bit here just so all our sequins don't fall kind of down to the bottom. Okay, there's a little gap here, but our sequins are fairly big. I think that should be fine. I don't think they'll get too far down there, and if I'm really concerned about it, I'll just add a little bit right here, and that'll act as a stopper. Okay, so now what I want to do, now you can add your sequins into this little well here and then try and line up your card like this. However, I'm not very good at that, so I'm going to do it the other way. I am going to lay my card panel down and very carefully try and open this up. This is new, so it hasn't been opened. Take off this little sticky tape. And I'm actually going to put a little pile of sequins right there. It just seems to work better for me. I'm in awe of those of you who can do it the other way and get your card base on straight. I can't. So I will do it the other way. Ooh, that is a long piece. Okay. So now let's see if I can get this open without getting them everywhere. Whoop. Oh, and they're already sticking to me. So what I'm going to do is, before I get started here, I'm going to show you guys a little trick of what I do. I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool, and I'm just going to cover my hands with it. And hopefully that will minimize the amount of sequins that get stuck to my hands. I've got a little bit of it on my card base, so I'm gonna just kind of rub that in. Alright, so hopefully there'll be no static on me now. And these will just drop down and not stick to my fingers. So let's add a few of these. I think this is going to look pretty, and then I'm going to actually put a few, I think, on the front of the card as well. Put a fair number in. I like a shaker card that's got lots of shaker bits. Okay, so we'll put that in the middle like so. We'll go ahead and remove our backing from our foam adhesive. Lots and lots of adhesive on this bad boy. And then what I'm going to do is once I get to the sides here, I'm actually only going to pull half of it off, like so, and like so, and this gives me some little handles to help me line everything up nice and straight. Now, I apologize if my head gets in the way here, but I want to make sure it's nice and straight. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And I think that looks pretty good. So then now what I can do is just press this down and then pull these little handles off. And then it's nice and straight. And look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Got lots and lots of little shaker bits in there. And I even managed to put the panel on the right way, which is sometimes always a treat when you don't. But I think that looks really pretty. And it's kind of nice because the tooling kind of helps keep some of the shaker bits up a bit. It just kind of catches them a little bit. So I think that is looking great so far. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do the second one off camera, and I'll be right back to finish decorating up the front panel. Now it's the fun part. We get to start decorating the front of our cards. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the Copic colored one. And we'll start laying out how we want our little die cuts to be. So I might actually use all three. I have gone ahead and kind of cut out and did my sentiments as well, just to get an idea. What I do want to do is I just fussy cut this one out. I die cut it with, stamped it with Versa Fine Clair Nocturne ink. That's my favorite sentiment ink, and look how gorgeous it stamps. Just so beautiful. And I only did one stamping of this. And then I did some heat embossing with just some Ranger Detailed Fine embossing powder onto some black cardstock. And I think that's kind of how I want that to be. So I was also thinking of maybe just backing this and fussy cutting around just to give a black border in behind, just to make that stand out. We'll give it a try. I'll see if I like it that way. I'm not sure yet, but let's get gluing these down. I am going to be using my art glitter glue. This has become my favorite liquid adhesive right now. It is very strong and it's permanent, non-toxic. It dries super, super fast. I really love this liquid adhesive. It's become my favorite. So let's go ahead and get this adhered down. Now you can also pop these up onto some foam tape if you want. I'm just going to glue them straight down to the card, keeping in mind that where I'm gluing them is going to be to the base, the panel of this card, not onto the tool itself, just because if I get any glue in here, it's going to stick some of the little shaker bits or sequins in place, and I don't want that. So just adding a fine, oh my goodness, it's being a little persnickety right now. I'm just adding a fine bead of this glue is what we're going to do. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. And I really like this fine nozzle on this glue. The nozzle comes separately. I'll link to it in the description down below. I'll link everything that I use today down in the description below. And remember, if you do purchase anything through those links, it gives me a very small little kind of bonus at no extra cost to you. So I really do appreciate your support in that when you purchase things through my links. It takes me some time to get them on there, but hopefully you won't mind using them just to give me a little bonus as well. Again, no extra cost to you guys for using those links, and it just makes it easy for you to find the products. Okay. And someone was also asking me about Patreon, if I have a Patreon. No, I do not have a Patreon. And I'll tell you why, because I want to keep everything that I do free for you guys. I don't want to charge you guys money to see free tutorials or to see tutorials. I want those to remain free because I as well appreciate when you're learning something, you want to save money for those craft supplies that you want to be using. But if you would like to send me a thank you in any way, you can actually tip me just like you tip your favorite barista. There is a link down below this video to do that. So instead of doing a Patreon, I just left it open as like a little tip jar. So if you want to throw me $1 or $2, that will help me purchase future supplies so that I can continue to create future tutorials for you guys with new products. So that's why I don't do Patreon, is I want to keep things free for you guys. But if you do want to tip me, that's perfect. That's great. You can do that through my tip jar underneath this video down in the description. So thank you for the person who asked me about that. But right now I'm not doing Patreon. Okay, so let's get back to this card. I want to put this down here, and then we'll figure out that best, see what we like. There we go, that looks good. So let's try this. I'm just gonna cut a little bit off of this big black piece of cardstock. And this is nothing special in terms of cardstock. This is, I think this is just Recollections brand. Did I cut it big enough? Woohoo, I did. Okay, so let's glue this down. And then I'm going to do like a little black silhouette. Again, there's probably dyes for these sentiments. There's probably like some sort of shadow dye or something, but I'm just kind of creating my own. Again, don't be afraid to fussy cut around things. My fussy cutting isn't the best, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's why we're making handmade cards, because they're handmade. We don't want store-bought looking cards. There's nothing that kind of, I don't know, it doesn't irk me, but I don't know what, when I look at cards in the store and they're just, you know, printed on cardstock and they want me to pay $5 for it, I can't bring myself to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some beautiful cards out there that are like 3D and they're embellished, and, you know, I'm a little more inclined to spend money on those types of cards where they have, you know, kind of like 3D elements to them, or you know, a little more to them. But just a printed card that's just literally printed on cardstock, I have a hard time spending $5 on that. I mean, I'd rather support somebody local or a small business, a fellow crafter, and spend, you know, that money on their handmade items, because I know it takes time and the creativity behind it, and I think people enjoy getting handmade things. Oh, sorry, my camera's probably really shaky. My kids are running around upstairs. I really do think people enjoy receiving handmade things. It shows that you took the time, or that somebody took the time to do that. So that's kind of my soapbox moment for today. All right. So how do we like that? What do we think about that? The best is yet to come. I think that kind of looks nice. Or do we like it better with just the white? I don't know. So there's just with the white and with the black. I don't know. I kind of like the black. I think it helps make it stand out just a little bit more. So I'm going to go with that. Alright, so we just need a little bit of the adhesive on the top. Line that up. And then I'm going to keep the inside blank, because that way it can be used for a birthday card. It can be used just as a thinking of you card. So So there we go. There is our finished first card. Let's go ahead and finish off the second one. This is our Zig Clean water brushes. And we'll do the same thing. We'll add the glue to the bottom. Oh, whoops. I should probably do my... I'm just going to open this up. This makes it a little bit easier. Should do my leaves first. I think. Get those down. Like so. Again, this adhesive, just look at that. It's done. And it really helps because this paper warped just a bit with the watercoloring. So it's going to help that lay down nice and flat. I really like that gold embossing on this one. I think that looks super pretty. A little bit different look for each card. Let's put that one right there. All right, so this didn't take too long to get these two cards done for you today. All right, let's quickly do the fussy cutting around. And I feel like I have lost one of my, somewhere along the line, I've lost my is yet to come sentiment. Maybe I'll find it, maybe I won't. Eventually I will. Just doesn't seem to be where I had it. Oh no, I see it now. It's on top of my sequins. I don't think you guys can see it on camera, but I found it, thank goodness. Alright, so doing some quick fussy cutting around for this last one. I hope you guys are all having a great day, that you're enjoying this blog hop. There are so many talented fellow crafters who are participating in this blog hop. Hopefully you get lots of ideas, especially for Mother's Day coming up. We want to get those Mother's Day cards completed and in the mail, because I feel like the mail is taking just a little bit longer than usual. It's not as bad as it was right at the beginning of COVID, but I still feel like it's not as quick as it usually is, especially within the city. Like, usually it only takes a day or so for the mail to, you know, be mailed within the city. But if you're mailing it, again, you know, to another province or outside of Canada, you'll definitely want to get it in the mail just a little bit earlier, just to ensure that it's going to get to its destination in time. Again, I have a little bit of warping with this paper because I did the watercoloring on it, so I'm just going to add a little bit more adhesive in certain spots just to hold it down. Again, being mindful that I'm not putting it onto that tooling, that tool that we did. And this, we want to stay closer to the top. Again, you want to make sure that you put your this little stopper in as soon as you can, because it does tend to clog up if it's left open too long. So I'll be sure to put that back on when I'm done here. All right, let's get that in there. So here are our two cards. I think both of them turned out really well. I love the little shaker elements. I like that you don't have that shiny acetate look to it. It's really pretty with the tool. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it does give it kind of a beautiful textured element to it. Just kind of a fun thing. All right, well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining me today. As always, I'll leave the links down below to the products I've used as well as over on my blog. Make sure that you continue to click along for the rest of the Scrap and Stamp blog hop. As well, I'll give you my secret code to get 10% off your Scrap and Stamp order. It is 10 Chala. That's 10 CHALA. That'll give you 10% off, so hopefully you can use that and get some great supplies. And thanks so much again for joining me today. Hey, P.S. I love you. Hey guys, I would really love it if you sent me some snail mail. I'd love to receive your cards and see what you've been busy making. As well, everybody who sends me a card will get something free in the mail, and I hope to show your cards on one of my next videos. As always, you can find the materials used in today's video down below in the description and over at my blog. Any purchases made through these links helps me to bring you future content and tutorials at no extra cost to you. Another way you can show your support is simply by liking, sharing, and subscribing so as not to miss any future posts. Thanks again, until next time, P.S. I love you.